Hey everyone, my name is Mike Fleming. I'm a district manager on the Jobsite Solutions team with Milwaukee Tool. And I manage a team of, I manage a remote team actually in Canada here. So I live here in Ottawa and I manage a team of 4. The majority of them are actually in the East Coast. So my day-to-day job is managing that team and then also, identifying top contractors and large construction companies to work with and to partner with. And go out and show them the newest and the coolest products that we launch at Milwaukee Tool. So before I joined StudentWorks, I was a fairly, regular kid. I was a regular teenager. I didn't really come out of my shell much until later on in high school or university. So for me, it was, I did regular teenage things like hanging out with my buddies or playing Xbox, or I was always good in school. That came naturally to me. So that's what I spent a lot of time doing before I got into the program. And I guess my reservations about applying for the program were probably a lot of uncertainty or nerves about running my own business. Like I was certainly excited about the opportunity of calling my shots and running my own business, but I didn't really know what my support system would be like before or while running it. So my reservations about participating in StudentWorks were probably nervousness about who was going to support me or who would back me up when getting into tough situations. A lot of uncertainty about running my own business, the stress, the hard work. Would I be able to do it from? I was in school in Ottawa at the time, and I would have been running a territory in Cobourg. So I suppose to sum that all up, I was nervous and uncertain, not really sure what it was going to look like, and if I would be able to pull through and be successful. Now, that being said, I learned a lot while I was working with StudentWorks. I would say the most important things that I learned were the ability to work hard, right? Outwork everybody around you. I think that's at the core of what will make you successful, is outworking, the people you work for, outworking your customers, and just putting in the time to get to where you need to be. A couple other things that I learned that are at the core of who I am today would be habits, right? Do what you say you're going to do. Finish what you start. Relationships are literally everything. Those are things that I carry with me even to today, right? And I look around in the corporate environment that I'm in, and it's easy to notice who's got great habits. People who do what they say they're going to do and they finish what they started, they're going to be the ones that are successful because they're building so much credibility with their colleagues or with their customers or with their manager. It's uncanny, the results and how people will view you. That's for sure. I think the last thing I learned that's worth noting and that's very important in my day-to-day, it would be goal setting, right? So, the ability or the situations that we went through with Chris and the team when we were training before we actually started our franchises were to set some really ambitious goals. And we actually would, in a training session, we actually went out and we broke a piece of lumber in half. And that to me cemented that goal was real, right? And it was tangible, right? It was something you could feel, and it was something you were going to chase. So that's another big piece of the program that I took with me, and I still live today. So 3 places in my life where participating in StudentWorks has helped me and benefited me is a tough one to say because I think, each and every day there's lessons that I learned in the past, or there's things that come up where, I lean back on the skills or the habits that I built while I was in the program. But if I was to dig into 3 specifically, I would say learning to manage my time properly benefited me throughout school, very much so when I was juggling extracurriculars like student council, or I was juggling a job, or I was juggling my studies. I would say my ability to create ambitious goals, which I had learned from the program, has certainly helped me at Milwaukee Tools, where we've grown at such a tremendous rate that the ability to sit back and create really big goals that seem unattainable has helped me get to where I am today. And then last but not least, I would say relationships are everything has probably helped me so many times throughout my short career. But recognizing how important some relationships are when I was at StudentWorks. I mean, when you do a great job for a client or a customer and their house looks absolutely beautiful, and then they invite you in for dinner, or they cook you and your workers up, a barbecue for dinner, that speaks so many volumes about how genuine people are, how far people will go to help you, or just to say thank you. And I take those stories with me, and I take not the lesson, but I take the value of relationships with me through each promotion or each job, or even day-to-day interactions. And if I was to shed some advice to somebody who's thinking of applying to StudentWorks, I would say, without a doubt, absolutely do it. I have learned so many lessons, and I learned so many things about myself throughout that program. I was young and impressionable. I was in my first year of university, so I absolutely soaked up everything, right? I soaked up every single experience. I soaked up every single lesson or mistake, and it was like a sponge, right? I grew, right? And I learned lessons, and I made mistakes, and I take, looking back, that 2-year experience for me shaped so much of who I am today. And it's like I said earlier, when you look around in a corporate environment or in a work setting, you can very easily pick out in a room people who have good habits, or people who do what they say they're going to do. And so my advice is do the program, absolutely, and be a sponge, right? Soak it all in, learn as much as you absolutely can, and have some fun while you do it.